Coaching a team that doesn't seem to want to be coached. History made, but a short trip to Gulf Shores, and key additions to Will Hall's offense this fall. Welcome to our regular edition of the Green Wave Report from On SI Tulane. I'm Doug Joubert. The Green Wave Report is a weekly rundown of stories we put together, analysis of what went on, and what you can expect later in the week from On SI Tulane, part of the Sports Illustrated Network. If you like what we produce each week, we'd appreciate it if you'd like our stories, subscribe to our YouTube channel. It helps us in knowing what you like and what you don't like. We begin in Charlotte, where Tulane baseball was swept in 3 games by the then bottom of the league 49ers. With the 3 straight losses, the Sluggerbirds are now tied for the bottom slot in the American Conference with the team that swept them and South Florida. I see a team collapsing in front of my eyes. If you don't mind, I'd like to relate a story of when I was a teacher. For over 30 years, I taught in a self-contained classroom. That's where I was with essentially the kids all day. I can count just on a few fingers how many times I had a group that I could not wait until they were gone. We recruited and I worked with these students and could get nothing out of them that we knew would make them better no matter what we tried. I don't mean this cruel, but in those instances, I could not wait for the school year to be over so I could start all over again. I know that as a teacher, I was pretty good at what I did. It was that particular group. It's lack of meshing together or working as a group or only looking out for their own self-interest. I don't know if this is how the staff at Tulane feels about this group of baseball players, but I can tell you this, the message being sent by the staff is not being received. When I was teaching, I always self-evaluated to see what I could do to make my students more successful. I knew that despite my efforts to help that particular group of students to succeed, I just didn't connect that year. As those same students moved up a grade, other teachers saw the same results. Coaching is teaching. However, what I am alluding to does not necessarily mean the staff isn't doing its job. What it does mean is that there seems to be a disconnect between this group of players and the staff. For some, the knee-jerk reaction is blame the coach. As a teacher, I know that feeling. I've been blamed by parents for a student's lack of success before. However, because I was the person who had gotten the education degree, I knew I had self-examined, pushed and prodded the student, used all the tricks of the trade within my power to steer him or her in the direction that my professional expertise told me would be best for the students under my care. I wasn't always right. Thus the self-examination. I also know I still bore some responsibility and knocked myself for not getting it right every time. Here are some undeniable facts. Tulane has a losing record under Jay Ullman as the head coach. The baseball program could have 34 scholarships the way SEC schools do and some American Conference schools do. Instead, it's about 1/3 that number. We wish Athletic Director Harris would look at the scholarship situation for baseball. This year's squad and its coaches have not been on the same page. There is fault to be had by all involved, but the yeoman's share will always be on the shoulders of the adults, whether that's fair or not. There needs to be some deep self-examination by all involved in the Tulane baseball program this offseason. We do know this. If Athletics Director David Harris does not like the progress of her program, he will make a change. The Tulane beach volleyball team's first NCAA tournament visit to Gulf Shores, Alabama, ran into a buzzsaw named UCLA as the Green Wave lost 3-0 in dual matches to the longtime postseason participant and this year's national champion. You cannot deny that this scrappy bunch of athletes made a statement for both themselves and the Tulane program. We truly look forward to more accomplishments for A.L. Zimet and his squad in years to come. Let's switch to football. This is part 3 of our 4-part examination of where the Tulane football program sits after the first spring of Hall ball. Week 1, we talked about the quarterback room. In part 2, we examined the offensive and defensive line play. Defense 1. Next week, we talk about the defensive secondary. This week, the running backs who are now on the Tulane roster. This may be the deepest running back room we've seen at Tulane. Period. And that's even without Jamari McClure last year's hero, who's recovering from both of his shoulders, had repairs done to him in the offseason, causing him to miss spring practice entirely. The addition of scatback Jalen Lucas, power runners DJ Duger and Johnny Daniels, plus the return of Mo Turner, makes for a top-notch running back room. Remember, Turner was supposed to be the starter last year before an opening game injury sidelined him for the rest of the year. If the offensive line can gel, this will be a big year for the Tulane running game. Meanwhile, in the last 2 weeks of spring, LSU transfer Destin Hill showed something missing from last season, a long, dynamic playmaker at wideout. Fat, as he likes to be known, made catch after catch, displaying incredible cutting ability and movement. Hill is strong and fast and can make plays that smaller wide receivers cannot. It didn't start out that way. Fat went through a multi-week adjustment period. Things changed drastically, though, in the final weeks of practice. Look for number 2 to make a dramatic impact at the wide receiver position. We hope you've enjoyed our regular edition of the Green Wave Report. We'll be back next Monday at 4 o'clock Central Daylight Time. I'm Doug Joubert.